Hi guys, and happy Sunday. Today is Sunday, May 15th, and I'm coming on a little later than usual. Woke up again like at 2:30. This time it wasn't the dog waking me up, I just woke up. After I lay there for 45 minutes, decided I wasn't going to fall back asleep, so I did a bunch of retired paper cards, and then decided that about 5 o'clock I was going to try to fall asleep again, and I did, and fell asleep till almost 7:30. So then I thought, oh no, I have to get my video ready. So here we go. We're still going with the standalone dies at this time, and you'll find those starting on page, the non-bundled ones start on page 169 of the catalog. And so these are called Sequins. And I wasn't going to get it. But then I looked at the example they have here on page 61. And I thought, oh, that is kind of cute for some of the fun fold cards. Some of the cards, to like fill in those spots when you don't want to actually put on dimensionals because you want it to go through the post office a little bit better. Okay, so today we are using that, and these are the stamps. There's 7 in a set. So we're going to be using a little bit of each of those, and here's the final card. The phrase is from Lisa Curcio's stamp set, Charming Sentiments. I'm not going to focus on this one today because this is going to be a video in itself because it has a bunch of wonderful dies, and I'll show you what we do with that. But I'm going to be using this, Wishing You Everything Wonderful, because I love that saying. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so as you can see, we went ahead and we put some sequins on here. Ran it through an embossing folder because I love making that impression into the cardstock, and then just added that saying with a little bit of the metallic ribbon. Okay, so look at my in color scraps. And I should pull them out of the garbage. I'm really down to not having a lot left because, and hopefully you're not seeing anything off to the side here. I don't know if you can see, these are all the scraps I had before, and look how I cut out all those little circles. So this is a great way to use, sometimes you're not sure if you want to throw away a piece of cardstock yet because you might be able to get a punch out of it. Look at that. Oh, I probably could save that one. Get a few more of those little punches out. All right, that one's going back in. Sorry. Oh, and there's my scraps from my 2 o'clock card. The cards I was making with my retired paper, DSP. Okay, so what I have done is, and I don't know where I got this from, guys. I think I got it from the dollar store. Not sure, but it's just a little storage thing. I don't use it very often because it doesn't have a lid for the top one. I mean, you could go like this, and then it does have a lid. So I guess I could do that and have just the bigger ones. But I have different sizes. Now, as you can see, there are, I believe, 5 different sizes. I only have 4 containers. So I have the littlest ones in here, medium, next size up, and then I have the super big ones up there. So I will go ahead and push those off to the side for just a little bit. I am going to cut some out to show you. We're not going to cut out all of these for this card just because. But I am going to show you one reiteration of going through, and I'm going to use the mini Stamp Cut Emboss machine. I call it the baby. When you look for in the catalog, it's not listed as the baby. It's listed as the mini Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and let me show you. As you can see, I don't have any of the sweet sorbet in there. That's because I don't have any sweet sorbet scraps yet. So once I do, they'll be put in there. Okay, so for this one, you're going to use your standard plate, your 2 of your 3s, and then your dies on the cardstock. So I'm going to put a couple through. I usually don't do this with the baby. It does work, but I usually don't just because it doesn't seem to hold on as strong. I'm just going to do 2 like that. I know I'm wasting a lot of cardstock there. Maybe I can go. What you have to be careful with the baby is that sometimes when you put this down, they move. Now, I did order the magnetic plate for the big one. The mini one is not available yet. On the mini, and don't ever put your fingers underneath there. On the mini, I tend to keep my fingers over them until they get under that bar, just so they don't move. And you can use, you know, painter's tape, scotch tape, whatever you want to hold them down. So let's go ahead. We'll put those back over here on this really quick. Oh, that one's stuck. There we go. Let's see. Put that up there. Put this here. And see there, you can see all of your iterations. All right, so let's put those little babies. And as you can see, when you're moving them off the plate, I don't know, can you see? Am I still? Oh, I'm not on. Sorry. As you're moving them off the plate, the little circles will separate themselves from the middle, usually. So don't worry about that. So let's see. This is the size. And this is this size. All right, we have them in there. So that's how well you can see they cut out, come right out, and fall completely right out. All right, let me put the mini away for just a second. The dies, I'm gonna make sure I still have all 7 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, I'm gonna put that back in the case there so I don't lose any of those. All right, so we're going to use the thick basic white cardstock. And what you're going to do, now you can use your white, your green and white glue if you want, your multi-purpose glue. You could use the fine tip glue. You know, I usually use what I have left from my paper pumpkin to use for the glue dots. But for this, you actually want to have your box of glue dots. And what I have done here, some demonstrator a long time ago gave us this little tip, is that if you pull it this way, then you don't have to like open up your lid to actually get your glue dots out. I did find that sometimes they were actually catching on that. So on this one, I actually just cut off a part of that flap. Let me show you. So you can see I just cut off part of that flap. So as I pull it through, you can see your glue dots. And it's a little easier to maintain, especially when you're doing with these. Now, honest to goodness, every year, or when they do a new packaging, I buy glue dots. Oh, excuse my voice. But as you can see, I never go through them all because I have so many of the mini glue dots left over from paper pumpkin that yes. Anyway, all right, so let's go ahead. We'll bring this out here. You can see the glue dots there. I just start, and you can use your take your pick tool to pick that up and push it down. I find it just a little bit faster to not include the take your pick tool, even though it's right here if I need to use it. But what I'm doing here is I'm just finding that next glue dot. Oh my goodness, I didn't press that down very good. Sometimes I'm tucking them under, sometimes I'm not. And you're just going to build out your spray, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to get too matchy, so I'm just going to put a few of these babies like this. Like I said, I'm trying not to do, when I look at things, I tend to look in threes. Oh, excuse me. Just a second. Sorry about that. We actually got up on, I think it was Wednesday. We actually got up to Oh, I'm sorry for the sniffling. Actually got up to, it was like 97 degrees, I think it was. And our heat index was 101. And yes, I know Texas and Arizona, you've been there for a while. But for us here in the Midwest, it kind of really dried everything up. But now we're down to cooler days. I think our highs the next few days are going to be either mid 70s, maybe low 80s. So the sinuses were great on Wednesday and Thursday when we had that heat wave, and now kind of back to the same sinus problems. All right, I'm going to stop with that right there because I'm going to bring in the next size now. So I'm going to put that off to the side. And as you can see, and I'm sorry for the sniffling, guys. I realize when I watch my videos back, I do that a lot. So I'm very, very sorry. Just know that I have sinus problems usually 360 days out of the year. Yeah, I usually have 5 good days. So, and no, I'm not going to go see, well, I see an ENT for another reason, but I'm not going to see anything about if I have to get my nasal cavity, what is it called, scraped? I don't know, whatever it is you do to help your nasal passages. Not a doctor person, so that's fine. If I can live with it, I don't worry about it. All right, so just put a few there on that size. Let's go ahead. I'm going to introduce some orchid opulence because, oh, and I put it on the wrong side. There we go. Because I haven't had an orchid opulence yet. So let's go ahead. And usually on these, I'll do a couple. That first one I didn't, but we'll see how it lasts. All right, and then let's do a couple on there. And we'll get a final one. Oh my goodness. All right. Oh, I picked up a glue dot from somewhere. You know what? So let's just go ahead, get that off my finger. Don't know, it might come, and that's another thing, and I'll show you what I do in a second when I'm done with what I think I'm going to put down. Oh, that's really stuck to my finger. All right, never mind. We'll leave that there for a sec. So then I'm going to rip this off, but then, oh, there's one right on the edge there. I do need to grab that one. Maybe I'll do a couple more little babies if I have any left on here. So then what I usually do is I'll run it along here because sometimes they will stick to the back, and that's all clean, so it can be thrown away. Let me just do a couple more of this size. Oh, I did it on the wrong side again. So you really want to kind of keep that embossing side up. Even though we're running it through an embossing folder, and you probably won't see it. It's just knowing that you have it there. Okay. Just because I can't stop. I always do too much. But we're going to end this on with a orchid opulence because we don't have many orchid opulence on here, as you can see. Okay. Put this off to the side. Let me go ahead. I think I will go ahead and put those smaller ones under there. All right, so here we have this. Now on the previous example, I used the painted textured paint. Now I'm gonna look it up, guys, because I'm saying it wrong. I want to say it's painted texture, but it is painted texture 3D. I think for this I want to go ahead and do a little tighter weave. So these currently are the ones I have. Now these are halves, so they won't work very good because it's not curved, they're the full. So let's see. Do I want to do gingham or hive? Or time worn? Maybe I'll do time worn. Let me see. Where's my time worn? There it is. And it's a 3D. All right. So let's go ahead. So that time worn is on page 177 of the catalog. Let's go ahead. On this, we're going to have to bring out, because if you're not using those smaller envelopes, you have to use your big. So this is Time Worn 3D. Since it is a 3D, you're going to notice that you have to use your base 1 and 4. That's all you use. So we're going to go ahead and remember, I don't want to do the back side of this. I'm only going to do the front of the cardstock. Now, if I had done this before, I could have done it, you know. But, so I'm going to go ahead. This line will help you line it up so it's straight. I can see that it looks pretty straight. This is the fold. You never want the fold to go last. Where this hinges, you just go through at the side or go through first. Since we're not going to be able to, since we're using this on the base of the card, we're going to go to the side. Okay? Don't ever put that hinge going through last, or you could potentially crack your embossing folder. I think I haven't had it done. I have had it go through that way the once or twice though. Excuse me, and was very worried that I was going to have a problem and have to buy a new folder. Okay, it's stuck a little bit because some of those glue dots I probably have, and you can see through it. But can you see that? I always get up too close. Sorry. I don't know if you can see that embossing. Just so much fun. Okay. Then let me bring back my scraps. I think I'm going to do that as my layer. Let me get a scrap. Oh, I have to go underneath my desk here to find my neutral scraps. Hang on, hang on. There we go. There's my neutral scraps. And since this is white, I want to do white. I know that's bigger than I need, but I'm not going to sort through all of those scraps to see if I can find a smaller one. So what I'm going to do is take this lovely sentiment, make sure it looks like, oh, I have to get out my piercing mat because this is photopolymer. Oh my gosh, look how beautiful that is. I love this stamp set, Lisa Curcio. And I'll probably love the dies once I get to use them, but I haven't used them yet. All right. Oh, I think this was even, oh look, this was even thick. I went to peel apart. This is even thick cardstock. Don't know why. Usually I only use thick cardstock when I'm folding a card. All right, just to make sure it's kind of straight, what I'm doing is the edge of those, the two Y, the Y and the G, I'm lining up to the inside of this track here, just to get a straight edge with the word. Now I can go through, now that I know that's straight, I can go through and trim it as close as I want. Oops. Yep, that's straight. Now I know I have a straight edge, so now I can go through and figure out where I want my boundaries to be. All right, let's measure and see what that is. So that is 2 3/4 by almost 1 3/4. So 2 3/4 by 1 3/4. 2 3/4. So we want to make this 3 on this side because we're doing a 1/4 inch bigger. And it's almost 1 3/4, so we're going to try 2. If we don't like it, then of course we'll just cut more. Nope, that looks good. That looks good. Go ahead and get your stamp and seal. And I know what you're thinking. I want to round the edge, but I have to look at the catalog again. They took away our detail trio punch, which usually was my corner rounder, and I don't think we have the envelope maker anymore that also had the corner rounder. So I have to look first before I do it. So I'm just leaving that straight. I'm not rounding the corners. I normally would because of all the circles in here. But so I'm going to go ahead. Let me cut off some pieces of this edge of the dimensionals. And I know it's thick cardstock, so this is really going to put it to where you have to put on extra postage. Look, I almost have this one gone. So close. Put that in the middle. Put that in the corner. Go ahead, peel off those. I know, my take your pick tool is very lonely today, just sitting there, not being used. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead, pop that in the corner. Make sure I like the edge on there. And for the finishing touch, Indian colors, this metallic woven ribbon comes in all of the in colors. So let me go ahead. And a good rule of thumb is go like here and maybe go, you know what, maybe I want to do it twice. Let me see how that looks for measuring wise. However many times you want to have it come over and then almost all the way to the edge again. All right, so let me go ahead. I'm going to snip it off there. Because I want my little ribbon tie off to be near the top there. That way it balances off that white area. So let's go ahead. I'm not good with bows. You guys know that. So let me just make my square knot first. Got pretty good at that with going with Evan through Boy Scouts and getting him to Eagle and all. Learned a lot about the knots. The square knots especially. Square knots, bow lines. I think those are the two main ones. Alright, so then however long, then tighten it so there's a little bit of a bow. Throw that away. And there you are. This again is using the dies from Sequins dies. Standalone die set. So it's near the back of the catalog. Using the phrase from Charming Sentiments. And there you are. There's the two different cards. Alright guys, thanks a lot and have a great Sunday. Hope you had a good weekend and be safe in the upcoming week. Talk to you later.